Welcome to the Cat Power Podcast, where we deliver powerful insights into the world of Caterpillar Oil and Gas, showcasing the latest in technological advancements and highlighting the stories of the industry's most dynamic leaders. I'm your host, Sergio Tejeda. Now let's get ready to power up with the Cat Power Podcast. Welcome to the Cat Power Podcast. My name is Sergio, and each and every week, we're going to have a special guest on from the world of cat oil, marine, and gas, who are going to deliver spectacular value for you on a number of topics, whether it be related to products, leadership, or a number of other areas. And today's no exception. So I have my special guest today is Jacques Ceballos. He's the Learning Operations Lead at the Miami Lakes Learning Center. And Jacques has 15 years with Caterpillar. He was born and raised in Panama. He graduated from the California Maritime Academy. He's had 10 years in the energy and transportation learning and development space, and 3.5 years leading the operations at the Miami Lakes Learning Center. So welcome, Jacques.
Welcome. Greetings to everyone. Absolutely, it's a pleasure just to be here. I'm excited to have this conversation on what is Caterpillar has to offer in terms of learning and development for our energy and transportation our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic subject because, listen, we're all learning and having a growth mindset and continuing to improve and sharpen the saw is important. We know that iron sharpens iron, right? That's the only way we get better. Exactly. So, but before we get into the all the learning and development space and activities that CAT's doing, tell me a bit about you. So you're born and raised in Panama, a place where Caterpillar has a very large footprint. Tell me a little bit about, growing up, and how did you get to start working with Caterpillar, and you decided that this was going to be your calling. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in the Caribbean side. It's called City of Colón. For those that know it, that will be what we call C3 or C3 in Spanish for it. But then definitely just graduated from the city aspect. Back in 2000, then I decided, I said to my parents, hey, I either going to do something in the water or something in the air. I don't want no land type. I don't know, for some reason, no land. So every time they would ask me, what are you going to do? I don't know, either water or land. Water or air. But my dad said was his swimming aspect and water, you two don't get along very well. So you might go into air. Like, okay, whatever. But since, we have the Panama Canal side of the question. And every time I recall, I remember when I was a little kid, you can go into the coast and then you will see some lights out there on the front. And I will always tell my brother who would tell me, I say, hey, how do you can get all the way over there? Because I don't see no roads going there. And he would hit me on the head and say, those are the ships that are out there, like ships. So that's how I got into more of that's what I'm going to go into the water, into the ships aspect and whatnot. So the opportunity presented then to come to the U.S. and further my education in maritime itself, merchant marine aspect. So I graduated from the California Maritime Academy. But my career was actually more of a dual. So it was a part of a marine and part of a mechanical engineer. So the opportunity presented to come to I was part of this organization called the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, SHIP. So Caterpillar is very well into
SHIP.
Yeah, SHIP. Yeah, you go.
Right. Actually,
I have a story on that one. We did a leadership event at school. It was called a ship on a ship, right? So we brought in people into it. So it was kind of like a cashy marketing name for them into it.
And
but
so
yeah, I went into
growing up in Panama. It's such a unique place to grow up, being that it is the launching point for Latin America, but such an important geographic and geopolitical place with the canal. And having grown up right in the port city in Colón, where you see this happening all the time, you had intimate knowledge of what it's like to see all these ships coming through, and the impact that has on the economy and everything else.
Right. Absolutely. And then, you get but sometimes, you, as you get more exposed for you, ships, come on. When you come over here, it's like, no, I have not seen a ship. I go, man, I can see a ship like a 5 or 7 within a second or something like that, right? If you really wanted to get to it. So, yeah, it's definitely, that was a blessing in disguise for me. And that's one of the aspects that we are where we are here now. here in Miami, right? It's all about water. So it's kind of like the water is following me around.
Sure. So then you move on to California. That's a big jump for you, right? Is that the first time in the U.S. for you at
No,
the time?
I did some schooling. I started actually in Massachusetts. So I went from Panama
Really?
to here in Miami because that's where my parents are. Then went to Massachusetts, and it was a little of a adaptation.
A little
If you
different
will.
in terms of weather.
Yeah, weather and language, I would say. So I went to. I came here to sharpen also my English language. And the professor that I had, he would ask me, "Where is it that you're going?" Massachusetts. No, I'm going to have a special session is with you. Like, why? The English is different. So you need to still develop very good ear on that one.
Whereabouts in
Okay.
Massachusetts?
In Cape Cod, so Mass Maritime. That's
Wow.
what the
Beautiful
school
place.
was. Yeah. Thing is that in Panama, a lot of those, so you will see that in Panama, a lot of people with a graduated from the U.S. Merchant Marine, which is Kings Point in New York,
Right.
or Mass Maritime. So that was kind of like back then. Now today is they're all over the place, but those were the two more very known academies in Panama, if you will. So, kind of like anything we follow through. But from them, I took a train from New York all the way to California, and then I started my career in California, I would say.
Fantastic. So then you graduated from there, and what were your specialties?
Mechanical engineer and marine engineering.
All right.
So it's two in one. Before I graduated, I had a chance to attend a conference in Chicago, where I was exposed into the Caterpillar brand. But I always recall that one. It was an interesting story. To me, Cat, it was all about boots, right? Boots and clothes. That was my image about.
It's a clothing brand, right?
It was a whole clothing brand, man. What happened was that students attending all this conference, very little cash, right, on hand. So I was myself and two other of my peers. We saw this announcement of specialties sessions or suites specialties, something like that, where it was like all companies, we had like a very specific, more like a personalized, private kind of sessions. But you will see in the announcement, right, like a free food. So it's like, okay, so let's start with them.
Free food will always get the students. Absolutely.
So we started with Pepsi, GE. We were just eating. So we got into the Cat. But before we were able to get out, they closed the door on us. So we said, okay, well, I guess we need to sit down and listen to this speech.
Right.
But again, we didn't actually pay too much attention until we hear something about power systems and marine and solar. We're like, what? This is the Caterpillar that we know? And the rest is history. The recruiters were very fond of our background and what exactly we were doing. So they would ask me, "Hey, are you interested in some moving? Because the location that this project will be is in Illinois." So do you know anything about Illinois? So I told him, do you know anything about Panama? Exactly. So we are on the same page. So he just gave me a note, hey, go and interview. So I was able then to do an internship with Cat. That's really why we started. Then ended up that Cat is way more than clothing for sure.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I as you know, I worked for Caterpillar for 14 years and I was recruited out of Miami, which is my hometown. And funny enough, a friend of mine left my resume on the Cat table one day at a career fair, and I got a call back. And again, they were saying the same thing. Hey, do you know about Peoria, Illinois? And I'm like, well, no, but I'm open to it,
Right.
And it was a big, jump for me. Absolutely. It was a big shock. So I can imagine for you as well.
Oh yeah, no. First fall for me was the first winter. I was wearing already. I remember it was September, October time frame. I was wearing glove, beanie, scarf. I was coming into because I studied in the engine development side. Mm-hmm. So they look at me. I go like, "You're not from here." What?
You're wearing too many clothes, too many items.
Way until January, and okay, let me just focus on this particular month,
Right.
But hey, it was a learning experience. Before I knew it, it was all comfortable with it. October was then ended up being just a regular long sleeve, and all the layers ended up being moving further and further into the actual winter season.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So you ended up working in Illinois for how long?
About exactly 9 years.
9 years. Okay, so you're practically a resident, right? And
so if I count a few months from my internship, then was pretty close of 10 years.
Wow.
That was a journey that only supposedly it was only supposed to last 3 years.
Well, it's funny though, because I got to Peoria on September 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11.
Wow.
And as soon as my rotation started, my first assignment was in Decatur, Illinois. And I was supposed to only be there for like 6 to 9 months, and it ended up being almost 2 years. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise that led to opportunities and everything else. And the Midwest has such kind people and such a great culture. It was, aside from the cold, it was a fantastic experience. So you move on, and now let's fast forward. You're in Miami now. And so you're working in this space of learning and development. I know the Miami Lakes Training Facility is spectacular. It's probably one of the best places in terms of the quality, the cleanliness, the quality of instructors, and the location. Being in Miami, everybody from Latin America and from Europe, they all want to come down here. So tell me a little bit more about what's going on in the center and what you're doing.
Yeah, so here at the center, we pretty much started this journey, I would say, back in 2014-ish, kind of idea, where a lot of especially both the marine and oil and gas group, they needed a place for them to actually focus training in their particular products, right? So to your point, Miami just became more of a destination location for international travelers and local people too as well. So there was a lot of rethinking and retooling that I like to call it out. With that came a lot of upskilling, even internal for ourselves. Okay, what exactly do we want this training center to be? And one of the things that the initial team always wanted to set that vision was that we wanted to be more than just a come here to just get trained. We wanted to be more of make an impact on somebody. So that got into what we call today just getting power. Right? Getting power everywhere, right? Yeah, getting power. It's all about we're here to empower you. If you if you wanted to relate to Miami Lakes, it's a place to get empowered, right? Get empowered, be empowered, and that's not just for the people that visit, for our learners. It's also for our own team, right? We always get a chance to learn something new every day, because we are located in the CAT PSLD, our Miami Distribution Center. Sometimes we get exposed to brand new equipment, right? So we always then, hey, what is this equipment, and so on and so forth. So our focus today is really to support both our marine side of the equation, and then also our oil and gas side. Some people might ask, hey, it makes sense Miami for marine, but they would scratch their head when it comes to oil and gas, right? Isn't that would be more of a Houston? So the way we'll be able to minimize that is exactly to what you said, right? Quality of training, our quality of people. So we have very well competent industry certified instructors too as well, so that they can relate with the people that are actually coming. The facility too as well, something that was just launched, which this year we celebrate the 36 years of the 3600 platform. So in 2017, we launched what we call the Larson Station. That is a full operated gas compression station, just like people will see out on the field. Our mantra is that instead of damaging your own equipment, come and damage our equipment, right? We are Caterpillar, come and just figure it out over here, right?
Practice here.
Just practice here, get it over here. Full experience, right? It's a 3606A4 coupled to an aerial compressor. So you get the whole full experience of it too as well. But at the same time, on the marine side, if you are into the pleasure craft side of the equation, we have the full pleasure craft equipment, right? From a console, engine. I love it because one of the things our customer, when they come on the pressure craft, they always ask, "Hey, how does your engine react every time you go full ahead and then you back full ascent?" I don't know. Come on, check it out. You do it. Are you sure? Yeah, go play. And we always notice it that they don't do it, right? They kind of hesitate.
Yeah.
But we learned something from one of our now retired senior instructor. His name is Victor Garcia, and he would leave. He would go and get a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden, from the Cosa cafeteria on the second floor, he would look down, and you would see the go like, "Is anyone see me?" And boom, the Yankee engine go full ahead, and then boom, the Yankee engine back, and he would come. So what do you want? This is Caterpillar. I can tell this is Caterpillar. So it's a good way to what we call it more of a product demo, right?
Right.
If you don't believe it, just come and then check it out. So yeah, so we go a little bit on both ends. So whether you're a Marine or you are on the oil and gas side, that piece of the quality of our training assets is a very important component to provide that experience, right? To make sure that people get empowered when they set foot into our facility.
One of the things that's going on in Miami right now at this point is that it is becoming a tech hub. There's a lot of companies moving down to South Florida because the mayor has been very friendly in terms of tech forward and so forth. So this places the learning and training center in such a great location because Caterpillar has always been high tech. Always looking for the technical advantage to either be more productive, more fuel efficient, whatever that is. Maintenance, all that stuff. And so now how are you taking training to that next level using tech and tailoring training to the clients and to the dealers and using all this technology that's available today?
Yeah, one of the things that we're noticing is that we always say that in every challenge there is an equal seat, right? There is a seat of equal opportunity, right? Is that with the start of of our current situation today, right? Is that it kind of help us then elevate to, hey, there has to be a way that we can then still empower people. There has to be one way how we can make it efficient, right? So especially we know that
now with the pandemic that they can't,
especially now with the pandemic, right. So people, I guess we had that notion of I'd rather is to touch the equipment. I'd rather is to do really hands-on. But we are seeing is that a lot of folks is if I'm able to, like I'm doing with you, I'm able to interact live with a person. There's still some added value and benefit into it. When I can just sit down here and then, hey, Sergio, can you explain to me how do you do this thing, right? I want to do a podcast. I want to do this or I want to do that. And yeah, okay, it will definitely be better if you and I will just sit having a cup of coffee, right? Or eat or something like that, right? But we can have leverage some of this technology. So we think what we call the CATU or Caterpillar University. Now we provide a lot of virtual instructor learning that it definitely complements very targeted specific skills. You won't get the full experience, but we do that one. But at the same time, you touch about technology. One of the things that within both the CAT oil and gas aspect and then the marine product groups is that whatever is the latest technology they are developing, for instance, right now on fuel efficiency, right? Our 3512E Tier 4 for well frac and drilling with the DGB, the gas blending. That technology, they decided, hey, as our customer and our dealers get more exposed, let's bring that to the learning center. So we are always at that cutting edge to whatever technology that is, right? Remote monitoring. We're also then adding all of that piece into it. One of our goals is really hey, wherever you are, you can tap into our equipment in the sense of let's use our equipment for your own learning and development, even if we're at a distance. So when you come here, what used to be more of a 5 days might become only 2-3 days because all you want to do is just validate the skills that we were able to share on a more virtual aspect, right? So it really complements the entire journey of developing people, right? So yes, technology, elevating our reach is definitely something that we're always evaluating just to improve.
It's interesting because prior to COVID, people would say, is there any reason why we can't get together, right? Because everyone always gets together. We're always on planes, flying to different places.
Yeah.
I think now post-COVID or in this area now, we're starting to say, is there any reason that we need to get together? Because we can do most of this virtually and almost with more impact and save costs and save time and everything, because you can do this so well. And then, like you said, when it's time to really validate that you want to put the hands on the iron, then you're ready to go. So that's that's where it is coming to what we like to call our learning services and solutions. See, pre-COVID, most of our to your point, most of our learners would then kind of like select and say, I want to go to Miami to have a marine engine system troubleshooting course, right? So it was course driven, right? Now the questions are asked, right? Actually, right now we got a particular training for a customer on this particular DGB piece that was approved for us to do more of a face-to-face. Same question: how effective can it is to actually go? And then is there anything that can be done then virtually? So we then change that to say, what exactly do you want your people is to learn? And then let's go is from there. Before they know it, they actually ended up with more. After we talk, they started with one product. We're now giving them the full spectrum. We say, hey, if you do this virtually, when you come here, now you can get more for the same value that you had before. So that's what we like to see. What we think is going to happen post-COVID is more really of that. Hey, if I'm going to go over there, let me just, I see you have a guitar right behind you, right? It's more of a, don't give me no lecture around how to play the guitar. Let me just play the guitar since I arrive all the way until I finish. Because by the time I finish, I just want to be very competent in playing that guitar, right? So that's kind of the analogy that I feel people is going to happen. Yeah. And then a lot of the customers can take the lead off of what Caterpillar is doing and apply these same types of best practices to their business, because at the end of the day, we all need to figure out to make more money and spend less and be more profitable and so forth. How is virtual reality or AI and so forth, how is that playing into the training space? Are you guys using virtual goggles or anything like that yet? And you see that coming down the pipe?
Definitely, actually, pre-COVID, our group, overall group, which internal to Caterpillar is called Global Dealer Learning. Out in the world, we probably are better known as Caterpillar University. There are actually that technology has been tested and validated. I've seen it quite a lot on the safety side of the equation. And we have a team in Malaga, Spain, that for the machine kind of training, they actually then do all the goggle things, all that virtual reality aspects. So there's quite a lot of technology out. It just so happened that end of March of last year, right before the lockdown, I was going to go on a trip to Houston, and some customers, they were all talking about applying virtual reality in the oil and gas industry for learning and development. So it was going to be more of an informal setting. Hey, what is Caterpillar is doing and how they're doing it. But then, of course, that got into more of a stopping mode. But we do feel that there is a need. The question is more of what specific skills. So far, we've seen it more on the operation side of the equation. But so far, then too, at the same time, you get customers to say, if I can put my hands on the asset, they might value that today more, or pre-COVID more than the virtual aspect. But hey, like I say, COVID is a blessing in disguise. So I can certainly see where we are focusing more on the remote, where you can actually not just put it, but you can really adjust, tune up, start, stop, and see the performance of the engine without you coming here. So that's I see right here in the near future.
That's fantastic. I know that CAT's going to keep on the cutting edge, like they always have, and being that guiding light for customers and other dealers and so forth as they develop their competencies. Listen, it's all about learning and development. Yeah. Life is about learning. If we're not growing and we're not learning every day, we're falling behind the times. Technology is moving at rapid pace, and if we don't keep up with it, then we're going to find ourselves behind the eight ball. Absolutely. So Jacques, one last question. So if you look back at your career and all of your experiences, was there a moment or an experience or something that you said, man, that was a game changer for me? Something that really resonated with you, or something that said, okay, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do, or something to that effect?
Yeah, I would say that it was the opportunity to lead the Larson Station project. Like I told you, it was probably 8+ years in the making, right? Because I was one time at a networking event with Caterpillar, some leaders, and then some internal employee resource group. It's called the Caterpillar Latino Connection. They put it together an event, and I remember back then one of the group presidents, his message was that, hey, the best thing I will ask is, if you start on something, see how you can see it all the way through. And he was giving some example on some other projects that he's seen handoff like 3-5 times, right? That, like, if you want something, sure, just get it started. So when the opportunity on this project presented, the one thing I asked my leader back then was, let me just see it through. I just wanted from not just the idea, but I want to see it put place in service, right? So that journey started 2013, 2012. And it was until 2017. Now, the journey itself started prior to that, right? But when I came involved in 2012, and here I am, and I feel that one, because that was a lot of personal growth, that was a lot of internal growth. I was able to understand how external economic challenges can affect the internal pieces, right? So navigating through all of that, and never lose a bit on that one, right? Somebody asked me one time about, hey, if it's something that you might want to then to share, what I said, hey, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it on what you're doing, somebody will tell you no right now, and you'll be like, okay, I guess you are correct. So that experience to me is that what I would say that is just keeping us going. And if anyone is down, what we typically do, let's go take a walk. Just look at that building. And if you were part of that building, then you know what it took just to get that building out. So that's just a refreshing motivation. Today, actually, the campus just finished they were doing some remodeling and some construction. It is with very heartfelt that a lot of that design that we see today, it was drafted back in 2012. When we say, hey, let's do a master plan for the overall camp, not to see it live too, you'll be like, oh, we know that we just added a little bit by, sent to the overall Caterpillar experience. So, yeah, that's my story. I definitely see everyone just to, whenever you got a chance, stop by. Miami Lakes Learning Center is there to empower you, whether it's virtual, whether it is on the social media platform, no matter. And not just me, you can touch any of our individuals. We got people all over, whether they're from Peru, Venezuela, Panama, Houston, Oklahoma, Peoria, Chicago, whatever, all the area, and outside of Miami, right? The entire extended family of CATU is there to support everyone. Is there to definitely provide the best value for our learners.
So, Jacques, you mentioned something really important I wanted to touch on before we wrap up. So on intrapreneurialism, right? So you're acting in a sense as an entrepreneur within an organization, and having ownership and accountability over a project that you can see from the beginning to end is so empowering, right? And so fruitful and so fulfilling, because you're actually taking a product from inception all the way through. And that's what it's about, right? It's if you don't enjoy what you're doing every day, you need to probably start figuring out what is it that you don't like about it and find something that you do like about it, because life is too short to not be passionate about what you do. And you are obviously extremely passionate, and Caterpillar is very happy to have you because of the work you do there and the impact that you leave on others that visit the facility and your team out there. So congratulations on your success, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the Cat Power podcast. How could people reach out to you?
The best and easiest way, find me on LinkedIn, Jacques Ceballos. We got plenty of content out there. Just get in touch. That would be probably the easiest and fastest way. And look forward to connect to everyone. And definitely it's a pleasure and honor is to be part of this podcast and open up the opportunities to reach to more learners out there.
Love it. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow and rate us, and be sure to share it with a friend so that you can power up their life and their career.